Shalom and welcome to the weekend edition of the Daily Dose of Hebrew. We're almost to the end of Jeremiah chapter 8. We've been looking at this long judgment which Jeremiah has been announcing coming against his people. A couple verses earlier, Jeremiah was actually lamenting himself. He was crying out over the catastrophe that he sees coming upon his people. He was so deeply moved by that. And now he's going to pick that up here in verse 21. We're going to hear Jeremiah himself speaking and bewailing what's happening. It's going to continue for the following verse at the end of the chapter 8 and actually a little bit into chapter 9. But let's go ahead and listen to Jeremiah's words as we read the text in Hebrew to get started. Al shever bat ami hoshbarti kadarti shama hehezikatni. Well, we have al, so literally on brokenness. Now, this is probably in the sense of on account of, because of, on account of brokenness, and this is in construct with daughter, but daughter of my people. We've seen this phrase before, this but, the daughter of my people, giving us a little nuance of tenderness perhaps here. And because it's my people, this is definite because the personal possessive pronoun here makes the whole chain definite as well. So on account of the brokenness of the daughter of my people. Now this word could give us a little bit of difficulty here. This is a kametz hatuf here. It's a kametz in a closed syllable. So it's actually a kametz hatuf, and this is hoshbarti. Now, with this hey prefix with an o vowel underneath it, you could probably suspect we're going to have a ho vowel. Not too often that we see those, but we do have one here. And this t supportative is going to be a perfect, so it's going to be a first common singular, and it's a ho vowel from the verb shabar. So there's our three consonants, which, if you notice, those are the same three we had over here. The brokenness is from a verb sheber, or shavar, which means to break. It also exists that's in the cow. In the peel, it means to shatter, but this is one of these verbs that actually exist in the hifil as well, to cause to break, and we find it here in the hofal, to cause to be broken, to cause to be shattered, and that's what we have here. I have been caused to be shattered. I have been shattered. I have been broken. So because of the brokenness of my people, I have been broken. So you see Jeremiah picking up that same verbal root here and saying how it's affecting him. And then we have kadarti. Now this is the same as what we had over here, so you have a perfect with this supportative. It's going to be a one common singular. In this case, though, it's just a good old cow from the verb kadar, not a very frequent verb. And kadar literally means to be dark, but it may have more the sense of allowing oneself to sort of go unkempt, to allow oneself to become dirty, as you would do, for instance, if you were mourning, M-O-U-R-N, mourning. So to be dressed in mourning, to be dressed in dark clothes, to have this somber appearance. So this is usually translated, literally it would be I have become dark, but we would probably translate it I mourn. Literally I mourned, but it's sort of a state of idea, so we can translate that as an ongoing I mourn. And then shama is from a verb shamam, usually written like this with two mames, which is why you see this doubling right in here. And shama is a noun which means horror. Shama means to be devastated as a verb, and so this is some sort of a devastation or a horror, something atrocious. So this horror, and then, oh boy, this is a big one. Zikatni. Well, the ni at the very end is going to be a suffix, pronominal suffix, and it's a first common singular. What's all the rest of that? Looks like we probably have a hifil prefix. You have this hey. It's not a hi, but that's because you have the guttural underneath, and so you get this sympathetic sort of a sigol coming in here. And you do have your I-class vowel of the hifil. And you have the verb hazak, like this. And hazak, if you know that from the cow, has the sense of to be firm or strong, and in the hifil would have the sense of to take hold of something, to make something firm and strong, to seize, in other words. Now here, what we have, this is going to be a perfect, and it's going to be a 3FS. We have this tau here. The usual ending, if we didn't have a pronoun suffix on it, would just be a ha. That'd be your 3FS ending of this hifil from hazak. But in this case, because you have a pronoun suffix, the hey turns into a tau, and then you add your suffix to it, your first common singular suffix. So literally she, and which the she is referring to, this horror over here. Horror has seized, with this perfect sense, horror has seized me. So Jeremiah just feels overcome because of this devastation has seized him, this horrible thing that he's seeing in a vision of what's going to happen to his people. It's just grabbed him, and it's affecting him very, very deeply. So not too terribly complicated in our analysis. Let's go ahead and hide our work here, and we'll look real briefly at three translations. ESV, first of all, for the wound of the daughter of my people is my heart wounded. So on account of the brokenness of the daughter of my people, the wound of the daughter of my people, is my heart wounded. Literally, I have been broken. Now, heart isn't specifically in the text, so they're sort of reading this as the I representing my heart. But it's a little surprising that the ESV would add that in. Usually they stay very literal. It's not inappropriate, but it's not directly in the text. The word heart is not in there. I mourn, so that's how they translate this idea of becoming dark. And dismay, I find dismay almost a little bit weak here. The word is really a little bit stronger than that, but that does fit. Dismay has taken hold on me. So we get how that goes there. And then the NIV, since my people are crushed. Now, they kind of, the brokenness of the daughter of my people, they've kind of taken my people, left out this little nuance with daughter, but that's okay. A lot of translations do that. Since my people are crushed, I am crushed. On account of this, I feel the same way. So they've kept these two, the shever being crushed over here and feeling crushed over here. I mourn and horror grips me. Grips is a good translation for this word over here. And then one more, in the New Jerusalem Bible, the wound of the daughter of my people wounds me too. I thought that's a very good translation. Picks up the common word, or the common root between the two. Now this one here I thought was a little bit different. All looks dark to me. Now you would wonder, I mourn and all looks dark. Well, how do they get that? Well, it's because of this idea of being dark. I'm not sure this is the best. I think it probably is more the idea of personally mourning over it. But when you mourn, everything does look dark to you. So I get that. That's okay. I grasp the perspective that they're trying to get that. And then terror grips me, obviously, with how this is ending up. In any case, we can see that Jeremiah is so deeply moved over the fate. It should grip us deeply when we see other people suffering. I mean, obviously for ourselves as well, but when we see others suffering because of their sin, especially sin which could have been avoided, it should move us deeply. On the one hand, we oscillate sometimes between saying justice should be done, yes, but on the other hand, it's always a heartbreak when we have to see people coming to that point. May the Lord give us tender and compassionate hearts as we have to deal with issues like this. We'll check back with us soon. We'll be bringing the chapter to a close, and so we'll see you soon in the weekend edition of the Daily Dose of Hebrew. Shalom.